Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to my channel, Do Ministry Gaming, and today I'm going to be doing a quick follow-up to yesterday's 3.14 Day 1, Day 2 Toxic Rain Raider update video. Now, the reason why I'm putting this video out for a follow-up is because there was one question that was asked a lot and recurrently after yesterday's video, and that question is, why did I play Raider instead of Pathfinder? Which is a really good question because the build guide I put out is for Pathfinder. Now, immediately, right off the hop, what I want to say is that I'm not playing a Raider because I think it's better than Pathfinder. I don't. Not yet anyways. Nor is the reason related to the nerf that GGG put out to Toxic Rain in 3.14. And the honest truth is that I still don't know how big exactly of an impact the AoE effects had on Toxic Rain are yet. Until further testing is done, and which I will be doing this league. And so I won't be making any conclusions on that until that testing is complete. So for the time being, I do still recommend Pathfinder. And if you are following the build guide as a Pathfinder, I think you're going to be doing just fine. All right, so with that out of the way, I'll explain why I chose Raider over Pathfinder for 3.14. And again, I want to stress this because it's very important. It's not because I think it is stronger than Pathfinder. Okay, I don't think that yet until a lot more testing is done. I chose Raider for the very simple reason that the second character I plan to play in 3.14 is going to be an elemental hit Raider. And so knowing that, I started with the Raider so that the transition is going to be very easy and very minimalistic and save myself a bunch of regret orbs to do the ascendancy change. That is the sole purpose of why I'm playing Raider. Now, this is probably a really good segue to talk a little bit also about the different ascendancy choices, because that's also a frequently asked question on my stream and my YouTube channel. And by the way, I do stream on Twitch, so come and check it out and ask questions there. Also, if you have any, I stream Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Times are in the description below. I'm also slipping in some extra streams in the first couple weeks of League Start here, so you can hit me up anytime if you have questions. All right, so the different ascendancy choices, or the common ones anyway, for Toxic Rain are any of the Ranger classes, okay? My build guide says Pathfinder because I do think, at least before the patch, it was certainly the best option, in my opinion, as a personal preference. But if you went Raider, that is also almost equally, or if not equally as good. Deadeye, also a very good option. And another very common option is Trickster. Now, I will talk a little bit about the pros and cons of each of these ascendancy classes because they are different. But if you went with any of these, you're going to have an equally enjoyable experience, okay? You're not going to, just because you picked Raider instead of Pathfinder, all of a sudden have a bricked build or hate the game. It's not going to happen. These all play very similarly. The tree is almost identical. Even if you use a Trickster, you pretty much do exactly the same thing. And so it really is up to sort of more of a preference thing, some of the smaller, finer details when it comes to the pros and cons of the different ascendancy classes. All right, so to start, I recommend a Pathfinder, at least before the patch notes, again, primarily because of Master Alchemist. And unfortunately, the text doesn't get any bigger on POB here. But Master Alchemist gives you immunity to elemental ailments during Flask Effect, which as a Pathfinder is pretty much all the time. And there are 7 elemental ailments: Ignite, Scorch, Chill, Frozen, Brittle, Shocked, and Sapped. So there is a lot going on there. And for one node to be completely immune to all of those, the quality of life is insane. You don't have to roll any of that stuff onto your flasks, like of heat, of dousing, and then even then you're missing a few because you can't fit all those onto your flasks. And so being immune to elemental ailments is super, super good. I highly recommend it. I love it as a quality of life, which is why I push Pathfinder so hard. And then everything else on Pathfinder is great as well. A Nature's Boon gives you that little bit of extra elemental reduced damage taken. And of course, this arm here gives you all the flask quality, like in terms of recharge and keeping flasks up almost permanently. Then you get Nature's Reprisal here, which is a very nice node for the extra chaos damage and the area of effect. Now, again, in 3.14, the skill was altered to have an impact by area effect, and we don't exactly know the extent of how the area effect is going to nerf the skill. Okay, so until I do some very solid, testing later in the league, both for League Starter and Endgame, I'm not going to draw any conclusions on this node yet. So just know that if you are Pathfinder, you're probably going to see a little bit of a nerf, as that's what was intended from GGG with area effects. So this node is less useful. Let's put it that way, less useful than it was before, but still good. Area is probably still not bad for the build. It's just not as good as it was before. And then, of course, Nature's Adrenaline, which gives you that movement speed and attack speed. When you have Flask Effect, again, you're always going to have Flask Effect as a Pathfinder. And then also the flasks themselves, don't underestimate those. Having 50% Flask Effect, for example, on a Dying Sun is going to increase your extra projectiles from +2 to +3. Even that alone is, it's just a huge boost, right? To the build. And so don't underestimate Flask Effect. It's really good, especially if you're lining up a bunch of defensive flasks as well, granites and jades and what have you. All those are going to get boosted, by something that you're probably not really going to actually notice, but in the end is going to be very good. Now, Raider, if you went Raider, and also there's a lot of 3.14 Toxic Rain guides out there saying Raider, especially after these changes, Raider is a very good option. Okay, all of these are almost equally as good. Okay, so with Raider, what I've done here in my build right now is I've gone up from Rapid Assault to Avatar of Chase for the Onslaught effect. Now, I did that because I want to progress through the game and the Atlas faster, and this gives me a lot of speed. However, if you want to end game build, I actually personally would recommend Avatar of the Veil, which I'm not picking up right now. Quartz Infusion Avatar Veil gives you dodge as well as phasing all the time. And then Avatar Veil gives you, again, that elemental ailment immunity, which, again, I'm very big on for a just overall quality of life and defensive layer. And so, I actually personally would pick this if I was to play this character all the way to the end game. But I know my goals for this League Starter are very specific. They are get through the game as fast as possible, get through the Atlas as fast as possible. If I die, it does not matter. That is why I'm going Avatar of Chase. And Avatar of Chase in itself is actually very good too. You get 35% more chance to evade, miss melee, and projectile attacks. So, that's a huge defensive layer as well. If you saw in my clips yesterday, I have 3.7k life, but I'm actually decently tanky because of all of this evasion as well. And so this is also not a bad option. But the one that all builds will take is the Avatar Slaughter down here for all the frenzy charges. You get the movement speed, the attack speed, you get the charge generation, you get the attack damage. This is a very strong arm here. So regardless whether you go Veil or Chase up top here, always grab Avatar of Slaughter. Now, onto the Deadeye. Deadeye is also quite good for Toxic Rain. I personally would prefer, I would say Pathfinder and Raider are on even playing grounds, and I would say Deadeye is probably a step back. But honestly, if you played it, again, it's not a big deal. You'd obviously probably get Tailwind here. Tailwind is just always going to be good on every build that you play. So make sure you grab that. Getting up here to Mirage Archers is something that a lot of people do with Toxic Rain. I haven't tried it actually personally, but I'm not sure I would enjoy that playstyle necessarily because your Mirage Archers kind of are stay put. And so I'm not sure yet, but I've heard some feedback here that some people don't necessarily like the play style of this, not so much the power, but the play style of Occupying Force. But from there, of course, you go to Endless Ammunitions for the +2 projectiles. That is just straight up for any projectile build, always good. I don't think there's any scenario with your projectile build where this is not good. Okay, so make sure to grab that. And so From there, you can either grab Wind Ward for some more defense on your Tailwind. Yeah, I guess that's what you would do. You probably wouldn't grab Focal Point because you don't use really any marks for Toxic Rain. And then onto the Trickster. Trickster is also a very good option. If you want Trickster, also nothing wrong with that. I'm just going to repeat that a whole ton. You'd come grab Ghost Dance and Escape Artist. These are your defensive layers for the Growth Shrouds. These just huge boosts. You can't be stunned, which is good. You're going to get some attack speed per Ghost Shroud. You're going to get reduced damage taken. This is a defensive layer. And then down here, you're going to come to Patient Reaper for some nice recovery, mana recovery, which is very good, right? Toxic Rain is mana hungry. And so some mana recovery every now and then is also very good. Life recovery and what have you. And then into Prolonged Pain. Prolonged Pain is skill effect duration and more damage over time. So this node here used to be very comparable to Pathfinder's Nature's Reprisal. One does duration and one does area of effect. With the nerfs now, you could say, I guess, that Prolonged Pain is better. But honestly, again, overall as ascendancies, you're not going to go wrong with any of these. All right, so I think I've addressed sort of the most frequently asked questions around why I play Raider instead of Pathfinder in my League start over the last couple of videos. So hopefully that helps clear things up. Again, if there's any questions, just pop by my stream, leave a comment below, and I'll try to address them as best I can. Hopefully I don't have to make a full-out video every time to address a question, but this was really asked quite a bit. Especially because my build guide said Pathfinder, and so I wanted to address it. And again, if you're still just following the build guide and using Pathfinder, I 100% approve still, even after the nerf, and I still recommend, and I still think you're not going to go wrong until some further testing is done. And I will do that, and I will show everybody, what the area effect impact is to Nature's Reprisal. Regardless of what it is, though, Pathfinder is always probably going to be very strong just because of the flasks as well as Master Alchemist. And so, and Nature's Adrenaline. And so you won't go wrong doing that. Oh, there's actually one more thing I want to address real quick is that if you are using the Path of Building, I'm not sure if you noticed, but in the notes section, first of all, I have all the sort of leveling tips and sort of short points on what you're looking for when as you progress through the acts. But more importantly, if you are following this, I did make a typo in the links here, especially when you get to the 4 links. So for when you get to 3 links in Act 1, I can't get this any bigger. The 3 links are Toxic Rain, Void Manipulation, and Mirage Archer. I think this used to say Vicious Projectiles. So if you still have that version, you can get to the new one by the new POB link in the build guide video. And then, of course, the 4 link, that's where the issue was. I had Vicious Projectiles twice. You don't use 2 Vicious Projectiles. They won't stack. The correction is that one of the Vicious Projectiles is actually Void Manipulation, which is the skill. You actually is the one that you get earlier in the game, not Vicious Projectiles. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. As usual, please like and subscribe if you liked it. And I also stream on Twitch Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays with an extra couple streams here or there over the next couple of weeks. Times are in the description below. Come and check it out. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.